again, I'm just getting to know you a little bit, but it's one thing to be affected as a leader and then go change you and your company. You wrote 2 books. I mean, how did it turn into a Mo project to let me share this with the world project? Like I think I've told you, like I never set out for this to be a method, right? A way, and you and the co-authors have done an unbelievable job. Scientizing it, I guess, is the best way I can put it, and making it digestible for the reader and very organized, I guess, is the best way to put it. But you're not an author. You're not, your background's not in leadership and all that. I think it's great that you had this epiphany and this change in yourself, but that's a big step to then go write a book, and let alone a follow-up book to it. So how did that happen?
So there were 2 aspects to it. One was that we had traveled the world on behalf of one customer here in the Houston area that sent us to 10 different countries, training 1,400 of their leaders from 46 different nationalities. Wow. And we went to these different countries and trained all these leaders. And during the time... Well,
but you're a software company.
We're a software company, exactly.
So, how are you training? You were training them in leadership?
Yes.
How did that, you skipped a big part there. How did you go from software guy to leadership guy?
So our customer at the time, we were offering technology services and communication services, and they had been working with us pre-transformation, our transformation, and then post-transformation, and they had seen our company transform. And so they actually approached us. And
I think that's the best part of the story, by the way, is that you were just doing your tech software stuff, but in the new version of Softway, as led by you, and it turns into then, go ahead, finish the story, because I think it's great.
We were, by demand, we were asked by our customers to help them with their culture and leadership.
Just because they saw your culture in action.
That is correct.
Not because they knew you as a trainer of cultures or anything like that.
In fact, that was not even a part of our goals or anything. It was literally by demand. Our customers came in and said, hey, listen, we've seen you all transform, and we seem to like hanging out with you more than sometimes our own teammates. We'd like to get a little bit of that culture within our walls. Can you help us? Wow. And, we were flattered.
So next thing you know,
No, we actually said no.
Oh.
We said no, we can't, that's not what we do. That's not us, because that's not what we signed up to do. But let me tell you, I was ultimately pressured to do it, because then they said they would pay us. And they paid us very healthily. So eventually we ended up doing the culture work for them and got to travel the globe. And we had to come up with the content and everything. Let me tell you, there are a lot of people all over the world because of this experience that they know who the hell Tom Herman is.
That's right. That's right.
Everywhere we went in the world, we had to explain the genesis of how love even became a strategy for us. And I'd have to introduce them to you. And I also had to do a lot of translation of American football to the real football.
Yeah.
I had to help them understand, what does it mean to be in the fourth quarter, 20 points down.
What does that even mean?
With less than 12 minutes left. I had to usually explain to them that's like being in the second half of your soccer
down
game.
3-0.
Down 3-0. And you're unlikely to win. That's the chances that our team had. So when I had to translate a lot of that.
That's good though.
But they would get it. Once I would paint that picture and the analogy of what they call the real football, they were like, okay, we get the context. So we traveled the globe, did all of this, and everywhere we went, the fact that we were able to, we didn't even realize it, but we were in a research study of our own. With 1,400 leaders across different backgrounds, different ethnicities, different faiths, different profession, like job roles. All of them coming together and resonating with this concept of love and leading with love for high performance. It just was, first of all, very gratifying to be able to do this. But second of all, almost every location we went, people came up to us and said, hey, this needs to be shared with the world. You guys need to write a book. You need to spread this message because this is what the world really needs right now, especially the workplace.
Because at this point, it was content for a presentation, right?
That's it. It was just a training experience. Right. We never had thought about, that this would ultimately become the book that we published. And then the second reason was what we recognize, just like the Houston Cougars, I think I still have a chip on my shoulder. And I know I've heard stories about how you've in press conferences talk about our players have a chip on our shoulder. Amen. They're out here to prove themselves, because they're not the 5-star recruits. Yep. They got something to prove, and that's a really good motivator. And so I feel like I've carried a chip on my shoulder for our company, that I feel like our team, I have an amazing team with so much to offer. And a lot of the times we didn't really have access to leadership and other organizations who would even consider us for any type of work. And I noticed that a lot of our customers, like at least the C-suite, would gravitate to a book like with, if they caught on a book with Simon Sinek or any of those other consultants who've written books, and they would automatically prescribe to their philosophy inside of their company and so forth. And so I was like, man, if one day if we could write our own book, then people would really listen to us. And so that was the second motivator. One was that by demand, all over the world when we traveled, people wanted this. And then second was, I genuinely had a chip on my shoulder. I wanted to prove ourselves. I wanted to prove that we could do this. We can write a book, even though we've never written a book before. And we went on that challenge and journey to go ahead and co-author the book with amazing co-authors of mine, without whom I wouldn't even be on this journey. And they had experienced the bad sides.
Both modes,
Both modes. I have 2 versions. And I felt like them sharing the stories with me would be the most impactful way of spreading the message. So that's what got us to even write books. And today we have 2 books, and now we're still traveling the globe, spreading the message, still talk about Tom Herman to leaders and spread the message. Yeah. So Coach, I'm like super, super pumped that you finally, after 10 years of me chasing you down, you get to come and witness the impacts of your words that you shared that day in the press conference. And I've been longing for this moment because all along through the journey, while I was trying to hunt you down, I always wondered, would Coach be proud of us for what we've been able to do with what you shared that day? So I wanted to kind of hear from you, having heard this, having to witness, meet us, meet our team, experience Culture Rise. What's your reaction? What do you think? I guess I'm fishing for some compliments here. But I want to hear your honest response.
The answer is yes. I'm extremely proud. I'm humbled. It's surreal. It's flattering. It's all of those things. Again, I never set out to maybe organize it for mass consumption, right? I think it was just kind of the way I was brought up and the way I knew how to do things, and it got good results. But to see you guys, you and the co-authors interact at the Culture Rise event, to read what I read, to have it so succinctly and digestibly put in the book was beyond my imagination of how well that turned out, because I never even thought of my way kind of going anywhere, I guess is the way to put it, right? It's just kind of the way I do things. And but to have you be so impacted, and then the book to then impact the people that it has already and will continue to, it's pretty cool. And I just think the best part of the book and both books is just the consolidation and organization of all of the beliefs, of all of the practices that have to accompany these beliefs. And so I was a believer already, right? I didn't. The content wasn't new to me, obviously, but the way you structured it and organized it and made it understandable and relatable is fascinating, and I'm thrilled to see it in print.
That's awesome. Awesome.